Let's talk about something we rarely think about the right way. Red flags in relationships. That are actually green flags. We've been taught to look out for danger signs, and that's good. We need that. But sometimes, we get it twisted. A lot of emotionally healthy, mature, even deeply loving behaviors can look like red flags at first. Especially if you're used to chaos, love bombing, or toxic patterns that felt like love. So in this video, I want to show you 10 relationship red flags that are actually good signs, if you know how to read them. And if you stay till the end, I'll share some real tips to help you tell the difference between a real red flag and just your trauma reacting. 1. They don't text you all day. We live in an age of constant connection. Texts, likes, instant replies have become the love language of modern dating. So when someone doesn't respond quickly, or doesn't check in every couple of hours, it can feel like emotional distance. But not everyone experiences love through their phone screen. Some people are genuinely present in their real life, working, thinking, healing, or just being. The discomfort you feel when someone isn't glued to you might not be because they don't care, but because your nervous system is used to chaos, fast replies, love bombing, or constant validation. Healthy people don't need constant reassurance because they already feel secure in themselves. And they won't give you false intimacy just to keep you hooked. If someone texts you thoughtfully, even if it's not frequently, they might be showing you that they care in a grounded way. That they see you as a real person, not just a dopamine hit. It might be uncomfortable at first, but it's also a sign that this love isn't performative, it's steady. And that kind of love takes time to recognize when all you've known is noise. 2. They set boundaries. When someone says, "I need some time to myself," or "that doesn't work for me," it can sound like rejection. Especially if you grew up feeling like love had to be earned by overextending or pleasing. But setting boundaries is not about pushing you away, it's about staying connected in a healthy way. A person who sets limits respects both themselves and the relationship enough to not let resentment build up in silence. They aren't trying to control you, they're showing you how to love them better, and giving you permission to do the same. It might feel cold at first, especially if you're used to relationships with no boundaries, but it's actually a sign of emotional maturity. Someone who knows what they need, and communicates it calmly, is creating a space where both of you can feel safe, not smothered. That's not distance, that's respect in action. 3. They take time to open up. In a world where oversharing is mistaken for connection, someone who takes their time to open up can feel confusing. You might wonder if they're hiding something or not interested. But not everyone leads with their trauma. For some people, sharing is sacred. Vulnerability isn't something they give away just because they like you, they give it when they trust you. And that trust is built slowly, with consistency and emotional safety. If someone isn't pouring out their entire life story in the first week, it doesn't mean they're emotionally unavailable. It means they're grounded enough to know that real intimacy is built, not forced. Often, the ones who take time to reveal their hearts are the ones who will hold yours more gently. So if you feel frustrated by someone's emotional pacing, ask yourself if you're craving connection, or just a shortcut to closeness. True emotional safety takes time to grow. 4. They've been single for a while. There's this weird assumption that if someone has been single for years, there must be something wrong with them. Maybe they're too picky, emotionally unavailable, or incapable of commitment. But what if it means the exact opposite? What if it means they've done the work? That they didn't rush into relationships just to fill a void? Long-term single people have often spent time learning themselves deeply. They've gotten comfortable in their own company. They've made peace with loneliness, rather than running from it. So when they finally choose someone, it's not because they're desperate or bored. It's because they truly see value in that connection. Being single doesn't mean they failed at love, it might mean they didn't settle for shallow versions of it. If someone hasn't dated in a while but is open, kind, and emotionally present, that's not a red flag. That's someone who waited for something real, and maybe it's you. 5. They call you out kindly. It never feels good to be told you did something hurtful. Even when it's said gently, it can make your stomach drop. But there is a huge difference between someone criticizing you and someone giving you the chance to grow. When a partner tells you how your words or actions affected them, not with anger but with honesty, that's love. That's bravery. It's easier to stay silent, to avoid confrontation, or to bottle up resentment until it poisons everything. But someone who tells you the truth, kindly and directly, is someone who believes in the relationship enough to protect it. They're not trying to shame you, they're asking you to meet them in a more conscious, loving place. And they trust you enough to believe you can. If someone calls you out in a way that opens the door to connection rather than slamming it shut, that's not a red flag. That's a rare kind of courage. 6. They don't always agree with you. We tend to confuse compatibility with sameness. When someone challenges your opinion or disagrees with you, it might feel jarring at first. You might worry, are we not on the same page? But real compatibility doesn't mean you agree on everything. It means you can disagree and still respect each other. Someone who always nods along might not be being honest, they might just be afraid of conflict. But someone who can lovingly say, I see it differently, is showing up with authenticity. That kind of honesty creates depth. It sparks real conversations and brings you closer, not further. It's a sign they feel safe enough to show their full self, not just a version of themselves designed to impress you. So when someone offers a different perspective, try listening. They're not attacking you. They're inviting you to see them clearly. 7. They say no sometimes. If someone tells you no, it can sting. Maybe they don't want to hang out tonight. Maybe they decline an invitation or express a boundary around something intimate. When you're used to associating love with self-sacrifice or people-pleasing, it might feel like rejection. But someone who can say no is someone who knows who they are. They're not just going along with what you want to keep the peace or keep you around. They're being honest. And that honesty builds trust. When someone says no with care and respect, it means their yes actually means something. It means they're showing up truthfully, not out of obligation. A partner who speaks up for themselves invites you to do the same, creating a relationship where both people can breathe. So instead of panicking when someone says no, consider this, maybe they're not pulling away. Maybe they're showing up real. 8. They take space, but explain why. Silence can be terrifying when you're used to being abandoned. So when someone says, I need some space to think, your first instinct might be to panic. But space isn't always about pulling away. Sometimes it's about getting clear. Emotionally healthy people know when they need to retreat and regroup. They don't lash out or disappear without explanation. They take space, not to avoid the relationship, but to protect it, and then they come back with more presence, more clarity. The key difference is communication. If someone says, I'm feeling overwhelmed and I just need a little time, but I care about you and I'll be back soon, that's not abandonment. That's self-regulation. It might feel foreign if you're used to chaos, but it's actually a sign of emotional maturity. Healthy love includes space, not as a threat, but as part of the rhythm. 9. They talk about therapy or mental health. For some, the mention of therapy or mental health struggles is an instant red flag. But the truth is, we all carry wounds. The difference is, some people are brave enough to face them. When someone talks about therapy or being in recovery from anxiety, depression, or trauma, it doesn't mean they're unstable. It means they're doing the work. They're self-aware. They're trying to understand themselves so they don't bleed on the people they love. Someone who's willing to look at their shadows is someone who can meet yours with compassion. They're not perfect, but they're practicing accountability. And that's more than most people ever do. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's honesty. And someone who shows up with that kind of honesty deserves to be seen, not feared. 10. They move slowly or ask deep questions. We've been trained to chase intensity. Fast sparks, instant chemistry, whirlwind beginnings. So when someone moves slowly, asks real questions, and isn't rushing into physical or emotional intimacy, we wonder if they're unsure. But love that moves slowly is often love that's thinking long-term. When someone takes their time, it means they want to know the real you, not just a highlight reel or a fantasy. They want connection, not just chemistry. And they're willing to wait for it. They don't need to conquer you. They want to understand you. That kind of love is patient, not performative. It's not trying to impress you in a rush, it's trying to build something that lasts. So if someone moves with intention, don't rush them. That slow-burning connection might just be the most stable, lasting thing you've ever had.
Look, I get it, this kind of love can feel weird. Especially if you spent most of your life thinking love is supposed to be dramatic, urgent, overwhelming. If you've been taught to see calm as boring, or kindness as suspicious. But the older you get, the more you realize that peace is underrated. That slow, safe, intentional love is actually the kind that sticks around. The kind that doesn't burn you out.